Welcome to the Atlantis Casino and Resort in the Bahamas for a poker tournament with a difference. Yes, it's time to get poker patriotic, people. So belt out your national anthems and break out your flags because this is the World Cup of Poker. Last year, Greg Raymer captained the USA to victory in sunny Barcelona. This year, the World Cup's back, and so too are the Americans, eager to defend their title.
USA, number one.
53 nations took part in qualifying online. By the time we got to the Bahamas, we were down to 9. The top 4 players from each of the qualifying nations flew to Nassau and met the captains who would be leading the way in the greatest team event in the poker calendar. New Zealand. Mexico.
I couldn't grow up to be a soccer player, so it was close enough.
Latvia.
Whoa!
Great Britain. And Germany. Italy, Poland, and Canada.
USA's going down.
Each team has one representative at the table at a time, and from the off, it was a tourney to remember. We started with a bang. Hand 1 saw a monster pot. 2 pocket pairs, Mexico 10s, and Germany 5s. Germany made a set before the cards went on their backs, and the turn brought 4 of a kind.
We only play quads, nothing else.
Canada had a shocker in the first few levels. Kid poker Daniel Negreanu was his usual ebullient self.
Pair of 4s for New Zealand. There's a pair of 4s for 69 for Daniel.
I know. We did it! 9-6. All right, send me some of that. What do you got? Flush draw? Pair? Something? Good? Dang it. I was trying to bluff this spot. You caught me. 9 on the river. Woo! That's so sick. Yes!
Even with the help of Negreanu, though, when we join play, the Canadians are short-stacked and in lots of trouble. Vicky Korn's Team GB sits atop the table with Marcin Horecki's Poland and Greg Raymer's USA not far behind. Your commentator is Ali Najad.
Thanks, Kara. Let's pick up the action. The blinds are 2 and 400 with a quarter ante here. Daniel Negreanu has king-queen offsuit. It's been folded to him in early position.
It's like cooking here. There we go. A little spice, a little salt, a little pepper.
This hand, Great Britain started us off under the gun. They're going to fold. Daniel's going to get us started with an 875 chip raise.
Right.
And he's going to make it 875 to go.
Come and get some.
Pretty small raise here.
Come on now, German. I know you want me. I know you want some of this.
I know, you just made your first mistake.
Really? You're coming?
Probably.
All right.
USA has passed.
It's my first hand.
Canada has just made its first mistake.
That's just what the German said. What does he know? Out of there. Gone. I'm not saying it's like a bad thing. Okay.
Italy passes. Mexico passes. Poland's got.
Okay, I'm going to play with Latvia because Latvia is calling. Sorry.
Poland passes.
No, Latvia. No, Latvia.
Lee Nelson.
Come on, New Zealand.
He gets through the Eastern Bloc and now over to New Zealand.
Pretty meaty.
Ace-king.
And no, you don't have any fold equity if that's what you're thinking.
Ha!
What?
New Zealand announces all in. Re-raise.
And the Kiwis are moving all in.
We want to win this thing, we got to gamble. Why are you doing that? That's so mean. Ugh. He's all in, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, brother. Well, 7, 76, 77. Okay, let's see. Do you have ace, king, or ace, queen? No, for sure no. No ace, king, no ace, queen. You might have ace, jack, or ace, 10. Or pocket 6s.
This is a huge re-raise for Daniel to call here.
None of aces, kings, queens, ace, king, or ace, queen. If I'm putting you on that, I cannot fold. I don't think you have any of those hands. Call.
Canada calls.
Daniel's made the call, and he takes a look at the bad news here. He's dominated.
There's a lot of queens in the deck. Man. All right. Any queen will do the trick.
Ace of diamonds, baby. Make it easy. Ace of diamonds.
Lee Nelson and Team New Zealand have the ace of hearts.
Ace of diamonds, king of hearts. How's that?
Daniel Negreanu and Team Canada are at risk for their World Cup lives. King of hearts and the Queen of clubs. Let's see the flop, please.
The Maple Leafs looking to spike a queen on this flop.
Ace of diamonds. King of spades.
King, 3,
Instead,
4.
it's a king.
Flop the
King of
too.
spades, 3 of spades, 4 of diamonds.
Still looking for a
Eliminates
queen
all
here.
the flush possibilities. Team Canada is looking for ladies, looking for queens. Let's see the turn card, please. Turn card is the deuce of spades.
3 outs for Team Canada. Their tournament life
We're gonna
at
get a
stake
queen
here
on the other. Team
early
Canada's
on.
gonna finish World Cup in 9th place. Let's see the river card, please.
Can they stay alive?
See 10 of spades.
Nope, the 10 of spades seals the deal, and Team Canada eliminated early.
Top pair, what are we gonna do? All right. So much for the hour and a half.
The Kiwis rejoice while there are some long faces on the Canadian sidelines.
We didn't have enough chips to throw it away. 7,700. Oh well.
Welcome back to Paradise Island, host to the Festival of Poker. This is the World Cup of Poker, and we're 8-handed after Daniel Negreanu's Team Canada were the first team eliminated.
You might be quick. You might be quick.
Couldn't let Daniel Negreanu off the hook that easily. I have brought him into the booth with me. Daniel, a little disappointed?
You know, I am, frankly. You and me are friends and stuff like that. We go way back, but I was hoping on plan on seeing you at the very end, you know, for like the winner's interview.
Right. Not so early. But you were short stacked in your defense.
You know, you just had to take a chance. I felt like we really needed to get back in the match. We were so far behind. And Lee Nelson, I know he likes to push, as you see he's right there, cutting out a raise, it looks like, but I felt like he could have anything, and I was wrong. He had ace-king.
Well, he's got ace-6 this time around.
Well, if he had ace-6 against me, I would have won. Remember, a king came? Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
1,050 to go now from Lee.
And that raise is just a little over 2.5 times the big blind, which is the blinds are 2 and 400, so it's considered relatively small. I like to go even smaller.
There's antes out there as well.
Well, yeah, and the ante's actually a little on the small side, too, just 25 instead of 50. You got a call here from the German with king, queen.
We're going to be heads up on this flop between Germany and New Zealand.
So Lee Nelson with the best hand and position with the ace-6.
He's been out flopped here. King 4-3, top pair for Germany.
That looks so familiar. It's almost exactly like the flop. I'm going to just talk about the hands that my hand that went broke the whole time because I'm so obsessed with it now.
Well, things didn't go quite as well for Team Canada with King Queen. Lee looks to be measuring out a continuation bet here.
Well, pretty standard play for the German to check the king on over to Lee Nelson. Now the decision for him is, do I spring it now and put the raise in, or will I just call and let Lee potentially bluff again on the turn? That's what he's thinking about right now. Certainly not thinking about folding. And Lee, of course, hoping, please fold, throw it away, I'm bluffing.
Germany's going to call
his bet of 1,800 into the $2,700 pot has been called. Now the turn card. 8 of diamonds.
Well, he's slow playing it again. He checked and called in the flop, and he's going to check it on over to Lee Nelson again. And it's up to Lee Nelson to decide, well, is he weak? Should I fire one more bullet? Or should I give up on this hand? And that's the decision he's facing right now.
Talk about the flop texture here. You've got a couple of spades and 2 connectors on the board. Lee could be thinking that the Germans are on a draw here, right?
Well, that's probably what Lee Nelson is hoping, that possibly he's up against some sort of pair of 7s type hand and he can represent the king. What he doesn't know, of course, is that the German is setting a little bit of a trap for him here. He's got kings with a queen. He's playing it cautiously, but at the same time, he's actually getting maximum value because he's got Lee to bluff here again on the turn, and the only way Lee can win is if he catches that ace. Because it doesn't look like the German's about to fold here. And he's not. He's going to call one more time. Now Lee Nelson has to be confused. Saying,
Maltese Strothman, the delegate from Team Germany.
River's the 9 of spades.
9 of spades on the end completes the flush draw.
Well, that card might scare both players just a little bit. See the German check one more time. Will Lee Nelson fire the 3rd bullet? At this point, he knows his ace high is not the best hand. So the question for him is, can I continue this bluff and pick up the pot?
Now, is this a mice and men situation where the true warriors at a poker table will fire this 3rd barrel and try to win the pot? Or is this just be wise, shut it down?
You know, it really depends on the read you have on your opponent and whether or not you know enough about them to think that they might fold.
New Zealand bets 10.
You know, if he has some information about the German to know that, well, maybe he would fold a king, the play has some merit. But if you don't know the guy at all, it's a tough bluff to run.
Well, you can see Strothman's not happy about this $10,000 bet into a pot of 13.5. It smells like a value bet to you, Daniel?
Well, you know, essentially it's one thing or the other. It's usually, it's either he's dead completely or it's a complete bluff. That's the only possibility here. If Lee Nelson had a hand like King 10, he knows he'd probably check there. But the fact that he's betting, and he's betting when the spade came, so it's like, what? You have the flush too? You were betting on the come the whole way? It's a little bit confusing. So the German's just kind of going through all the possible hands that Lee Nelson could have and trying to figure out, what? This doesn't make some sense here. Well, he's agonizing over it a little bit, and Lee Nelson not giving anything away, just stoic.
This is a very big pot.
Very key hand. Now, the one thing about slow playing a hand is sometimes you put yourself in positions where you have to make difficult decisions on the river because he never found out where he was at on the flop or the turn. I'm not saying that's a bad way to play it, but he played it very, very cautiously and carefully. So now, you know, he's sort of given Lee Nelson the rope to hang himself. The question is, will he pull the noose?
Having let out or check raised at some point would have given him a little bit more information with respect to Nelson's hand. Now it's just a guessing game, isn't it?
Of course, though, if he makes this call, you know, it's going to look like he played the hand perfectly.
I call.
Call.
And he does. He's made the call, and he's going to win a nice pot here.
New Zealand says ace high.
You don't have to pay, you win. It's
King queen for top pair of kings.
Strothman is relieved.
Well, you see the Germans there rooting him on. You know, sometimes, you know, aggressive play is what we talk about, but, you know, the passive possum right there, he actually maximized on the hand by never even betting. Just check, 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 and he got the maximum out of Lee Nelson, who tried to steal that pot.
Get that man a beer.
10-7 of diamonds fold? That's like one of my favorites. Wow.
Not quite as creative as the Canadians over in the Latvian camp, Daniel.
1,100.
You see Vicky Korn from Great Britain. She comes in for a raise.
USA and Germany will pass to Italy.
Folds around. Vicky's got a garbage hand, the 9 deuce. She's completely on a bluff here, hoping that everyone folds and she can pick up the blinds. Lozano, though, speculating with an 8-9 suited.
Now, those are the types of hands that play well in a no-limit tournament, right?
If you're deep stacked, suited connector type hand like that, you can hit a lot of good flops and potentially win a big pot. The way this hand's playing out, though, Vicky Korn is completely bluffing, so you know, the potential to win a really big pot against her is not really there.
Now, why the decision for Vicky to get into this pot with a 9 deuce offsuit? This is a mistake, isn't it?
I don't know. I just think Vicky Korn right now is looking to push the action a little bit. Great Britain does have a big stack of chips, and she's trying to use her, you know, tight image, if you will, to go after it.
Lozano has flopped a heart flush draw here.
Well, this is a great flop for Vicky Korn. As you see, she's got absolutely nothing, but a board like Queen, Queen 5, if nobody flops anything, a very high percentage of the time, everyone's just going to fold.
She does have position on her 2 opponents.
Lozano, does have a flush draw in this spot, so you'd expect at least a call from the Italian. Well, Vicky's not going to like that because now she knows, uh-oh, the jig is up. She's either up against 2 pair, a flush draw, or possibly 3 queens. So chances are she'll shut down here unless she has. Oh, that could be a card that maybe Vicky decides to bluff at.
Well, when an opponent calls you, just check calls you on a board like Queen, Queen 5 with 2 hearts, you're either putting him on heart draw or queen, right?
Yeah, or some sort of pocket pair. Now Vicky has gone ahead and decided to represent strong, and she's going to bet the ace here. Lozano playing it a little cautiously with the flush draw. The way he's playing it, though, now he's going to actually have to hit that heart. Otherwise, Vicky might be able to bully her way through this hand with another bet on the river. Oh, and she's made the best hand. She's made queens and deuces with an ace. She's kind of giggling because she's like, oopsie, I don't know.
I got showdown value now. 2 pair.
Vicky says she's got 2 pair.
Well, what she means there by showdown value is that now that she's paired her deuce, if she's up against the flush draw, she can win the pot now with 2 pairs. So you can see she's like, phew.
Don't be cross. What an example to set for my team. It's embarrassing.
A great example, Vicky. 74,000 in chips for GB. Germany are in second with 44,750. It's a decisive lead now for Britain. We'll be back after this short break.
Blinds at 2 and 400 with a $25 ante. 8 of the 9 countries that began the final table still there. And the 9th man in the booth with me here, Daniel Negreanu. Team Canada already been eliminated. With King Queen, no less.
Yeah, this just brings back bad memories. Recent memories.
Well. USA announces. USA
That's not a
announces
nice
call.
thing to shout at your own team member. You know, he's hopefully calling. You shouldn't, you know, use these names.
The USA says that when they cough fish, it's actually a code to 3.
Now the action's going to be on the American here with King Queen. He's actually called already, so we'll be on the German.
Jared Gavin, representative from the USA.
Only 4 spectators per hand.
Fold it around now.
USA and Germany both call.
German does call there, as you can see with the 9-7 of clubs. We're going to have a multi-way pot here.
Krišjānis Žirds of Latvia has 10-9 offsuit.
Well, that's not a strong starting hand, but he is in the blind, and there is a lot of chips already out there. So it makes sense for him to call. We're going to have 4-way action to this flop.
5,500 is the total bet. So 4,000.
Vicky's going to have to dodge a lot of bullets here with her 2 4s.
Well, hang on. It looks like Krišjānis is actually re-raised to 5,500 out of the big blind.
Well, that's surprising. I thought that he was absolutely just going to call here, but he's looking to make a move. A lot of players call this the squeeze play. Out of the blind, you look to steal some of what you call the dead money, figuring that the 2 players who called the raise don't have that strong a hand. So he's making a very aggressive push here to pick up the pot right now.
Now, Daniel, you just got to look at his face there. What would that tell you if you were sitting across from him? Did he look nervous to you?
He did look a little bit nervous. He was having a little sip thinking, please fold, please fold, please fold. And he did get by Vicky, who had the only real legitimate hand with the 2 4s. You know, a hand like 9-7 of clubs.
I'm squeezing.
Oh, he actually says, I'm squeezing. He's telling the truth.
He's looking way too relaxed.
Oh, and you know what? He says you look way too relaxed, so it actually fooled him. The little drink, the relaxation, the Latvian with a grin on his face. Highway robbery.
Don't let that honest Abe beard fool you.
Nobody paid to see him.
All right, let's have Kara walk us through our format.
The World Cup of Poker. It's a team game. And an innovative one at that, because the team captains have a few tricks up their sleeves. They can call for a timeout.
Timeout!
And use it for whatever they please. Some tactics, perhaps?
I'm thinking these ones who are lower than 25 are going to just move.
Or maybe just a morale-boosting drink.
1, 2, 3, go Poland!
And there's another innovation, too. The captains submitted their rosters. That's the order that their team would be coming to the table at the start of play.
Wow, this is the list of victory.
But twice in the tourney, they're allowed to make a substitution to get a more experienced player in, to get a player in who suits the game situation, or perhaps to rescue a player who feels like they're out of their depth. It's a new level, so the team roster kicks in, and there are 8 new players at the table, including Team America's captain, Greg Raymer, who has some work to do to get his side back on track. There are no other pros present, so it should be a good opportunity for the U.S. to chip up.
The big bluff by the young Latvian, Krišjānis Žirds, has them sitting in 2nd place, looking up only at Great Britain.
It's just such an interesting structure for this tournament. There's so much more strategy than just playing the game. When do you put your strong players out there? Do you start them early, later? Your chip stack has a role in when you maybe make a substitution, all these extra things. As a team captain, I actually really enjoyed, I wish we would have done better. Being the first out's not fun, but I thoroughly enjoy playing the World Cup of Poker because it's unlike anything else you'll see on television.
You'll notice some unfamiliar faces sitting at the table now. All players have been swapped out with the new blind level of 4 and 800.
He's going to make the call. We're going to give Greg his option.
Well, an aggressive Englishman. I played with him in some of the preliminary heats. He's just going to limp in here with the 5 deuce offsuit.
Lawrence Houghton.
So it's going to be blind versus blind here.
Flop is the Jack of Spades, the 10 of Clubs, and the Ace of Spades.
Yeah, that flops. Nobody has anything here except Raymer does have an open-ended straight draw. It's what we call the idiot end. Of course, if he catches that queen, he would make a straight, but anyone with a king would have a bigger straight. Englishman's looking to steal this pot.
1,050 is the call from the United States.
But Raymer is going to call with his straight draw. He is in position, so maybe he's looking to steal the pot on a later street.
It's the 7 of
Wow,
diamonds,
he's
Ace,
made the
Jack,
straight.
seven,
Ding.
on board.
Question is, will you see the Englishman shut down right here? You were called on an ace-jack-10 board. You have deuce-5. Might be a good time to say, yeah, throw out the little white flag.
And he does wisely check over to Raymer.
Well, Raymer now really hoping that his opponent has something like ace-10 or ace-jack, and he can double through for the Americans. Wow.
Raises to 8,500.
This is a little bit of a misstep here. Very, very aggressive raise here, and now Raymer's all in. And before he can even say all in, the Englishman throws his cards in the muck. Kind of an aggressive play there. Wrong timing, obviously, with Raymer having a straight.
Welcome back to Atlantis on Paradise Island in the Bahamas for the Festival of Poker. We're 8-handed in the 5th World Cup of Poker, and defending champs Greg Raymer's Team America have their sights on a second successive title.
Great Britain will pass. The United States is going to take that card.
Team USA going to go all the way again. Defending champions, 2 from the winning team, 3 new guys that are just as good or better than the last time. We can't lose. Team USA only gets stronger every year. Everyone knows who are the defending champions, Team USA. So who's going to win again this year? It's obvious. Team USA.
The Americans seem pretty confident going into this year's action.
You know, but the thing is, right now, the chips don't seem to display that they're, on their way necessary to defending. There's a lot of work to be done for the Americans yet. King Jack folded from early position. But now we have the aggressive Englishman coming off the back of that deuce-5 play. This time he's got a little better hand with the ace-7 of diamonds.
A couple of nickels for Team Germany.
This is Peter Schmidt. Like he's going to play the 5s. He's calling 2,000. Uh-oh, here we go. Pocket aces now for the Italian. Quickly saying raise. He's not messing around now. He wants to get the chips in the middle with his pocket aces. He's made a very strange play here. He's re-raised to 4,000. That's a min re-raise after a raise and a call. It's considered very, very odd, a play like this. You don't see this very often.
3,200 to Latvia.
Generally, if you're going to raise with the aces, you'd make it maybe 6,000 to 8,000, but 4,000, that's really inviting your opponents to come into the pot.
Oh, look at this.
Well, this is going to be trouble. It's going to be very difficult here to get away from pocket queens.
Juris Saikans representing Latvia.
Latvia is going to re-raise.
And there's no reason for him not to make this play here, right,
Well,
Daniel? He's got to believe 2 queens are good, right?
The thing is, the only thing that's really suspicious is the size of the raise from the Italian. To just re-raise so small, it usually represents strength in that he does have something like aces or kings. So it's a very close play here with queens. It's kind of dangerous.
No chance he's got jacks, 10s, or maybe ace king?
You would think, though, that with jacks or 10s, you wouldn't want to make a min raise. Although, even with aces, you really wouldn't consider doing that most of the time. But the Italian's got to love this. He's kind of doing a little acting right now. He knows what he's doing. He's going to put all his chips in the middle with the aces here. He's just trying to hide the strength of his hand a little bit. A little smirk. I don't know. What should I do here? Trying to represent a weaker hand than he has. Finally says all in, obviously. We call that moon bluffing. A little Hollywood.
The Italians never short of style or flair.
Now the difficult decision is back to the player from Latvia because he's got to call another 26,000 here. He's already put in 12,000. You know, from a math perspective, you'd think, okay, well, I'm getting a good price. The problem is, what could the Italian have? He just made that small raise. I've re-raised him, now he's re-raising. It looks very much like he has pocket aces or pocket kings. Queen's the 3rd best hand in the deck, but when you get re-raised after a re-raise after a re-raise, you're usually looking at one of the 2 better hands. This would be a great laydown if he could get away from the queens right here. I think he knows. His instincts are telling him, you know what? I don't have the best hand here. I should get out of here.
Will he go with his gut is the question.
Very difficult decision because he can beat ace-king. He thinks, you know, maybe this guy has ace-king. The Italian looking very confident right there. He's paying attention to that. It would make folding the queens a little easier.
The Latvians second in chips to start this hand, but they've got over 11,000 in the pot at this point.
Well, he can certainly afford to fold here and still be, in good shape in the tournament. If he calls and loses, that's really going to put a dent in their stack. The Italians, of course, are all in here. But if you're going to be all in, this is exactly the kind of situation you want to be in. All in before the flop, pocket aces, heads up. The Italian really doing everything he can to sort of coax his opponent into calling. Not much he can do now, though. It's just hope. As you see the percentages, aces against queens, 82% to win the pot. It's about as significant as advantage as you can have before the flop.
There's the king.
Excellent laydown. That's just absolutely world class to fold pocket queens in that situation. We all see at home that he was up against the aces, but wow, that takes some really good instincts to be able to fold a pair of queens in that spot.
He made it look easy, Daniel, and the Italians pick up a very healthy pot.
Welcome back to the World Cup of Poker in the Bahamas, where it's not just money, but it's national pride on the line. In the next few hands, Team GB lost a load of chips to New Zealand when Ace-Jack ran into Ace-King, which makes the Kiwis our new chip leaders. Britain go down to second last in chips, though. Easy come, easy go. Meanwhile, it's another new level. New Zealand have Team Pro Lee Nelson at the table. The US have World Cup veteran Sean Deeb, and Mexico, who have the very shortest of stacks, have sent their skipper JC Alvarado to fight for their tournament life.
Mexican captain will have less than 20 big blinds to work with. 500, 1,000 blinds with a $100 ante.
Well, JC is a fantastic player. Unfortunately, with just 15,000, he's not going to have a lot of wiggle room here. Well, a hand like King Queen, he's pretty much going to have to go with this no matter what happens. Blinds are moving up now. It's time for him to get his team back in the game.
JC will open the pot for a raise.
Mexico's going to make a raise to 2,550.
2,500 total. Now, Daniel, should he be just pushing his whole stack out there, opening the pot all in, or is 2,500 the right play?
There are two ways to play the hand. Generally speaking, this is the kind of raise size that I like. Maybe what he's trying to do is leave himself a back door. If the wrong guy goes all in against him, he may throw it away, feeling like, well, he's in trouble. But pretty much he's committing, I think, by putting in the 2,500.
Well, he's being put all in here by the Brits, who hold pocket sixes.
Well, this is a race situation, as you can see. Just the 2 sixes, a small favorite at 53%. JC now going through the math, trying to figure out, well, you know what? I've already got some invested. We got to win this thing. Got to take some chances. Similar to actually the hand that I went broke on with King Queen. I was hoping I was up against a hand like 2 sixes. In this case, JC is in decent shape in a coin flip situation.
Did you play much with Stephen Devlin?
No, I don't know much about Stephen Devlin's game. But obviously here you see him making an aggressive play. He knows what he's doing, trying to be the bully, push the action.
And that's been the theme for the Brits.
They are. They have been very aggressive. Vicky herself earlier, raising with 9 deuce offsuit, pushing that hand. So JC, I'm sure, has been watching that intently and knows, hey, this guy could have anything. He could just be trying to push me around here.
Unenviable spot to be in, team captain. Your team counting on you here. Don't want to make a mistake.
Well, yeah, he understands that, if he makes this call as team captain, he's going to be the one responsible for taking down the team.
All gamble Negreanu style. The call.
He's going to call. He doesn't like it, but he's making the call.
And he said, I'll gamble Negreanu style.
Well, I don't blame him. If you really want to win this thing, you can't sit around on a short stack all day. You've got to try to double up sooner or later. And JC elected on sooner here by gambling with the King Queen. His teammates have a beer ready for him.
Looking more like Team Germany there.
Queen, queen, king.
Oh, there's a death flop. complete death flop, really. With 3 6s now, the king-queen is, just virtually dead. All he can really hope for is split, He's going to have to catch a 5 and a 7, a 5 and a deuce. He makes his king.
Well, that's it. Team Mexico has been eliminated from the competition with that king on the turn. The river of formality, it's the jack of spades, and the Brits continue to bulldoze.
Well, that aggressive style is working for them. They're winning the right hands at the right time, and, now we see the Mexicans gone, and the Brits are back in action.
Well, sometimes you just need the deck to cooperate, and it didn't that time. Team Mexico finishing in 8th place.
You guys were in it to win it. You were playing to win. You played a great game as well. So talk to me about how you feel as a captain. Your worthy crew here just couldn't quite go far enough.
Oh, well, of course I'm disappointed. I wanted us to win. It was pretty standard at the end. Nothing I could do other than try to hit a king and not have him hit a set. So.
Yeah, you can't really control it when they hit a set. There have been a lot of sets out there today. Now,
we had none of those.
No.
None of those sets.
We're just making that clear. Mexico had none of the sets. So with 7 teams left, here's where we stand in chips. New Zealand and Italy are flying their flags with pride at the top of the table, while down below it's Poland who need to chip up to stand a chance of getting their hands back on that World Cup trophy. It's a new level, which means new players at the table, including Italian team captain Luca Pagano.
For myself, is one of the biggest honor that I can have to represent Italy. That was my dream. When Italy won the World Cup of soccer, well, that was my dream to be there. At least I have my chance to be here. Of course, the most important strategy is how to get luck. And we have a nice plan about it.
Welcome back to the World Cup of Poker, where we're 7-handed. Your commentators are Ali Najad and Daniel Negreanu.
New lineup with the blinds at 6 and 1200 and a $100 ante. Luca Pagano finds himself in a 3-way pot holding ace-9 offsuit. Up against pocket 4s for the Germans, 5-7 for the Americans. Here's the flop, 6 queen 9. The Italians have a pair of 9s. Gutshot straight draw for the Americans.
And of course, with 2 4s, Jan Heitman can't like 3 overcards to the board.
They'll check also. Let's see that turn card, please.
It's been checked all the way around. Third club on the turn now.
Well, that's more protection for Luca Pagano. As you can see, he has the ace of clubs. No other player has a club in their hand, but it looks like the German Jan Heitman is going to take a stab at this pot.
Now, how do you feel about this play, Daniel?
Well, it's not so horrible. I mean, it doesn't look like anyone had a pair in the flop. He's just taking a stab to see his hand's good. The only problem with it is with 3 clubs on the board, even if someone just has 1 club in their hand, they might decide to call on the turn. So that's the risky part about it. Certainly, you don't expect Luca to fold here. He does have the ace-high flush draw as well as the pair of 9s, which could easily be the best hand. So he's not contemplating a fold. It's clearly a call or a raise.
What do you like here?
Well, it depends. It really depends so much on the history that these 2 players have had between themselves, on your read of your opponent. The safer play is always to just call and, see if you can catch your card. The aggressive play, the risky play is to raise.
The Italians are second in chips to start this hand, trailing only the Kiwis.
So Luca takes the conservative approach and does call. He's in great shape here. The only way Heitman could win is with a 4 that's not a club.
1 outer doesn't come home on the end. It's the 7 of diamonds.
Well, now you would expect Jan Heitman to check here and give up on the play.
I don't like this check.
Well, now Luca says, I don't like the check because he feels like if he checks, he probably just has a queen.
1 pair.
Italy's check. Let's see, gentlemen.
Okay. Good news for Italy. The pair of 9s are the best hand. Luca takes the conservative approach. It's enough to win the pot and keep the Italians in good stead.
And they will narrow the gap between themselves and New Zealand, courtesy of the Germans. Get a look at the peanut gallery.
So Luca doing his job there.
Here's the leaderboard. New Zealand are just 100 chips in front of Team Italy. That's just one black chip.
All right, Team USA under the gun.
What do you favor as a strategy for the chip leading teams at this point, Daniel? Just pedal to the metal or lay back and maybe let some of the smaller stacks eliminate themselves?
Well, it's really situational. Depends where you're seated. For the most part, you know, you want to be aggressive if you're in the lead, but you don't want to be sloppy at the same time. You want to be careful.
Ace-Jack suited for the Americans. They've made it 2,500 to go.
That's certainly the correct play at this stage. You got to play a hand like Ace-Jack suited. Push the envelope if you will. If you pick up the blinds, great. If you get one caller, at least you got a little something that plays pretty well after the flop.
Benjamin Zamani in the driver's seat for the U.S. Derek Morris calls with 10-9 suited.
Well, he was the big blind. It's a relatively small raise. He has to make this call here and try to flop something with a hand like 9-10 suited.
And here is that flop. Deuce, King, Jack, middle pair, top kicker for the Americans. A gut shot straight draw for the Brits who check.
Well, not exactly the flop Morris was looking for. He'd need a queen for a straight. Decent flop from Zamani. He's got this. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, the queen on the turn. This gives Morris the straight.
Now, Zamani checked in position on the flop here, Daniel. Isn't that a mistake?
No, not necessarily. He's got middle pair. He's just checking behind with what he considers to be the best hand. Well, this might be a little odd to bet now that the queen came. Might be a better idea to check here, as it turns out, since we know now that Morris has the straight. He's got the hand one virtually, as long as a 10 doesn't come on the river. That's the only way Zamani could win this pot back. Now Zamani looking over at Morris. Well, he can't like to see a raise here. You know, he does have jacks, but a queen beats him, a king beats him, a 9-10, an ace-10. Anything along those lines.
It's just 3,000 more, and Benjamin throws it in there. He's got a disgusted look on his face, though.
Where is the 8 of hearts?
Well, that's considered a total blank at this point. It's not going to change anything. The question now is how much will Morris bet? How greedy is he going to be? There's 16,000 out there in that pot. You expect him to bet something like 10,000.
And he's got a few $1,000 chips out there. Even less than 10, 7,000, less than half the pot.
He's doing what we call milking the cow. He's trying to get whatever he can from his opponent. It's a very good bet size since his opponent is weak in this situation. A bigger bet might have scared Zamani off, but for just 7,000, he may get curious and look him up. No, he doesn't want to, but he's going to pay it off. Yeah.
Let's see, please.
He's going to see the bad news. It's a straight. Well, Zamani's not going to be happy with the way he played that. To get check raised and call in the river could only beat a random bluff. And as we know, Morris there was certainly not bluffing.
Bit of a misstep from Benjamin Zamani.
A lot of rules to Great Britain poker, according to Vicky. We always have the best hand, and we always
more chips over to the Brits.
Things seem to be going well for the Brits.
All smiles in Camp Corin.
Catching cards and playing them well.
Welcome back to the World Cup of Poker, where Team Latvia and Team GB have been on a roller coaster ride. It started in hand 121 with a huge pot, which gave Latvia the chip lead. New Zealand took it a few hands later before the next level when the team captain stepped in.
Think lucky thoughts.
Then came a massive reversal for the Latvians Christiana Yurts when he called Vicky Corin's bluff.
We're up and down with a flush draw. Come on, baby.
Latvia's pocket nines were miles ahead before GB made a flush on the river. Next hand, Latvia woke up with another pair, sevens this time. The German player Malte Strothmann raised him all in.
I'm all in.
Call.
And again, when the money went in, the Latvians were ahead, but it didn't stay that way for long. Team Latvia went from second in chips to short stack in just 2 hands, and we join play in the very next one.
Blinds up to 8 and 1,600 with a $150 ante.
Well, at this point, with the blinds getting higher, you can go from chip leader to the outhouse in a hurry, or you can go from the low stack to the king pin in just a minute. And here we got an all-in move.
Young 18-year-old from Latvia.
Pushing the action here on the short stack. Got to get aggressive and attack those blinds. We don't know yet what the Latvian has. I don't know that he's looked at his cards, but we see here Gavin has ace-queen on the button, and he's definitely going to play this hand at this point. He's going to stick it all in. He says, huh? Oops.
Well, both blinds were still left to act behind the Americans. Do you like Gavin's play there to re-raise and isolate?
Yeah, I think at this point, you know, he understands his opponent is desperate. The Latvians are short stacked, so ace-queen rates to be the best hand. And you can see the sort of sheepish look on Latvian's face, like, huh? You called? Oops.
They don't.
All right, we've got a
happy.
10 and a 9. All right. He's not completely dead. He's got a chance here.
Flop is deuce 3-8.
Okay, the Latvian's going to need to catch a 9 or a 10 here.
Could also hit a couple of runners to a straight. More of an outside shot.
Good flop for the Americans.
Let's see the turn card, please.
Teammates wondering, 9-10? You couldn't find anything better than 9-10?
Well, he's going to want to hit one of these 6 outs if he hopes to stay alive in this tournament.
Nope, there's the queen, giving the Americans top pair and eliminating the Latvians from this competition. Very aggressive move there. Really just sort of being kind of maybe overly aggressive with the short stack. Can't fault them, though. They were very, very short.
So it's goodbye to Latvia on their World Cup debut. Here's how the rest stand in chips. Poland are now the short stack, and New Zealand are the chip leaders with just 6 nations left.
The players eliminated did all they could, but when their chips were in, they came up short. The hopes of the remaining nations rest on the shoulders of the survivors. So join us next time when we find out who'll be crowned World Cup of Poker champions.
See 10 of spades. Let's have a big round of applause for Team Canada.